welcome to Valiant's panel at Phoenix 2013. You find my little fantastical slideshow. There we go. Excellent. My name is Atom Freeman. I'm the head of sales for Valiant Entertainment. To my left, we have Dinesh Shamdasani, the CEO CCO Element of Valiant and co-founder of Valiant. The reason we're all here. Christos Gage. You'll find out about his connection to us a little bit later on. Joshua Dysart, the writer of Harbinger and Harbinger Wars, and anything else. We have Clayton Henry, the artist of Armstrong. You
Colorist.
colorists.
Dave Barron.
All right, so welcome. It's been a great year. We've actually just crossed our 1-year anniversary of publishing. We have on May 2nd of last year, we put out X-O Manowar #1, and it has been awesome. So thank you guys so much for being a part of that. So now we get to talk about what's next. Obviously, Quantum and Witty here are getting us started. I'm going to figure out how this works here in a minute. Oh, good. Hey, look at that! The Summer of Valiant is back. Last year we had the Summer of Valiant, which was the first 4 titles. This year we've also announced our Summer of Valiant. Starting off with Quantum and Witty in July. That is, tell them quickly about Quantum and Witty.
Sure. It's basically 2 idiots get superpowers.
Yes.
That's basically what Quantum is, and there's a goat.
And there's a goat. We'll come back to that a little bit. X-O Manowar #15. In X-O Manowar #15, we see Eternal Warrior.
The new arc. The new arc of X-O Manowar, it leads into something big we have planned for the end of the year. You should pay attention to that one.
Yes. What's that?
Nothing.
There's no goats. There's no goat in X-O.
Should we, I thought the Summer of Valiant was that we had goats in all our books.
Just Harbinger.
That'd be amazing. I want to go to one.
We're going to embed that in every page of Harbinger. There's going to be a goat somewhere. Where's the goat?
I'm not against it.
Bloodshot #0. All of your questions will be answered.
Matt Kin's coming to write it. The script is amazing.
And a little artist named Chris Cross. We have Bloodshot and the Hardcore. What is this is Gage and Dysart there. There's 2 people on the panel. Bloodshot and the Hardcore coming up in September, and Eternal Warrior also in September.
New one going, Eternal Warrior.
Yes, sir. Let's start from the beginning. Quantum and Witty starts off this July. We're actually just announced, we just found out today we're going to be doing this really cool thing to it. I can't even really talk about it yet. I started to talk about it and I didn't, but there is a goat involved.
You should talk about it.
There's going to be a big release date thing, and it's going to be worth your while to be on the West Coast. So James Asmus and Tom Fowler doing amazing work with this covered by Ryan Sook and several others. Here are a few of Tom's pages. And it's hysterically funny. It is such a good time. And my favorite part about this is we actually have several covers, including our own QR voice variants, which
Do we have an example of what the goat's going to
We do. Hang on, let me get rid of this.
So you guys don't remember our X-O Manowar QR talking cover that we launched at the universe with? You have one?
Yeah.
With him? With you?
Do you want to show it off?
Awesome. Excellent.
Would you like to be on
I love it. Visual aids.
I'm still sitting down here. It's cool. Would you like to write Bloodshot?
Would you like to?
It is passionate.
All right, so as he's pulling that out, I want to show you. So the idea behind the show the first one.
This is Rich.
We're gonna.
We only have an hour.
Could we all?
Can you just send your book bag up here and we'll just go through it?
Is in that one? Oh, that's the next. So that's the next one.
So what you do is it's a close-up shot of X-O Manowar. You scan the QR code with your phone, put the phone in his mouth, it'll take you to YouTube and it'll play an animated speech, animated by Neil Adams, and we had a voice actor come in and record a speech.
Oh, good lord, they have every single thing we've done there. That's okay.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
Oh, there we go.
It's
Look at this.
too big to bring because There's.
So this is the Harbinger #1 QR voice variant. So you scan this QR code with your phone. You put your phone over it, and Harada talks, speaks Josh's brilliant words.
A little over emphatically.
He was a little intense.
He was definitely showed up early that day, the actor, and he was caffeinated.
We found.
But it was such a big hit. We had to go back to the well and do one more.
We actually found the auditioning process to find the proper code for the voice acting was difficult, but
He's not kidding, by the way. It really
it
was.
was lots of petting zoos. Lots of petting zoos. Let's see here.
Do you have a screaming goat that screams like a person?
We
And there's also the fainting goats and the goats that live in trees. These are all going to be variant covers.
That's right.
Why don't we just watch YouTube videos of the fainting goats? That makes me laugh every time. Have you ever seen the fainting goats video?
I have those.
Brilliant. Do they faint? Are they?
No, but they're fat.
Well, those are useless goats. Because you need is fainting goats.
My goat has.
So this is
Because I'm way too long.
Many goats for auditions. One was chosen.
None harm.
but only one was chosen.
Hey, at least they're cheap to pay, right?
Well,
They have a union, it turns out.
A battle royale of goats.
To the death.
Only one made
that one
it.
insisted on only eating variant covers. It was not cheap.
Did anyone read the original one on Woody? Anyone in here?
Right on.
I did.
Excellent.
So we're very excited about this book. We were actually not planning to bring it back this early, but so many of you came and bugged us at conventions and at signings and our panels that we had to do it. We're very excited about it.
Yeah.
Jane Davis has done a great job. It's a hilarious book. It's surprisingly more of a family book than you'd expect. The first issue is going to be an interesting issue because while there are superhero antics, there's also a lot of character development, a lot of bonding between the two siblings, the two adopted brothers. So we think you're really going to like it.
It is hysterically funny, and there's just a whole lot there. Moving on, we're moving into X-O Manowar #15, where we start setting the stage for something really big at the end of the year. Oh yes, this is one of our pages from Lee Garbat. He is killing with this stuff.
So this is what we're seeing here is we see the belt of destruction from Auric. If you've been in X-O Manowar, you know that Auric has taken out the alien Vine fleet that was orbiting Earth, and this is the wreckage that's left behind. And he's now on Planet Lone, in an arc we're calling Planet Death, where he kills a lot of things. He'll be back soon in this arc, and he's going to take over Romania by force with the Visigoths that he found in Lone. This, of course, sparks a reaction from the world. It's not a pleasant reaction.
Can't just take over a country and people don't react.
Afraid not. Afraid what happens is Gilad, the Eternal Warrior, comes up and tries to stop you.
Oh, well, that's something. I want to make sure that we touch on this. So now, in our universe, there is this ring around the Earth of trash. You know, it is all the destructive. It is the destroyed fleet of the Vine fleet. Yeah.
It's going to be harder and harder for us to keep the various events in our universe a secret.
Yeah.
As the Earth now has a Saturn-like ring. And just saying. Just for the next editorial retreat.
Moving on to Bloodshot #0 with the amazing Matt Kent and Mr. Chris Cross. It's covered by Dave Bullock. He's awesome. Actually, I think we're going to be doing a promotional poster of this particular poster.
So we've wasted a lot of questions in the Bloodshot arc so far. A lot of things have been answered, but even more questions have arisen. Matt Kent's coming in and he's telling a definitive part of the origin story to Bloodshot. So you're going to find out a lot about where he came from and how he was created, what his original goal was, and you're going to delve deeper into the man he was before he was Bloodshot. It's a pretty heart-wrenching story, I have to be honest. It's a very exciting issue. We're very proud of it.
And if you know anything about Matt Kent, in fact, Christos is carrying around mind management right there. You know that it's not a standard script. And he is what he turned in was really, really brilliant. I absolutely loved it. Looking forward to seeing where it goes. It's a wrap around cover from Emmanuel Lupacino.
That's awesome.
Yes.
Whoa. Brilliant.
So who will
Next
lead the
up.
hardcore?
Who
The
will lead the
hardcore
hardcore?
are in Harbinger Wars number 2 and number 3.
Mhm.
They do a little bit of damage, right?
Yeah. Palmer is introduced in 2, and then in 3 we'll really get to see the hardcore drop it, and then in 4 we'll pursue their storyline, and that'll lead into the events of 4. We'll change the Bloodshot book for the next year at the very least.
So the big question on everyone's lips is who will lead the hardcore? This is something we've done a lot of work to keep secret. None of you know what it is. It's a big reveal.
Oh, hey, I'm sorry. Oh, shit. Sorry, it was the next slide. It was, all right.
This is his last time.
Your timing is
I'm not usually the guy who does the panels. All right, so yes, Mr. Christos Gage and Mr. Joshua Dysart are co-writing Bloodshot and the Hardcore, starting number 14. We've changed the title.
with Emanuela on
Emmanuel
art.
Lupacino.
Yeah, amazing.
She is. Have you guys been reading her Archer Armstrong stuff? Yeah.
And J.G. Jones cover.
Yeah, which is.
So tell us about it. What's the book about, Christos?
Well, you guys, I don't know how many of you remember the original Hardcore series. Basically, the premise of the Hardcore is it's a group of people who have implants in their brains that allow them to download one at a time various psionic powers, even though these people are not psiots, they're regular human beings. A couple of the things that we're doing a little bit differently this time around is addressing, in the original Hardcore, they were all military people. I think they were all Vietnam veterans specifically. This time around, the idea is not everyone, this process won't work on everyone. You have to have the exact right, physical makeup, genetic code. So when they find someone like that, they kind of have to take them. It doesn't matter if they are a Delta Force soldier or if they're, a wino on Venice Beach. They are going to do everything they can to recruit this person and make them a member of Hardcore and train them. So that leads to some interesting character stuff. It literally could be anybody. Charlie Palmer, who we've seen in Harbinger Wars, is the leader of the original Hardcore, and he's going to be, he and Bloodshot. Well, I don't know how much I'm allowed to say. Josh,
we can probably discuss that. Palmer will survive the Harbinger Wars, and we'll leave it at that. And whether there's other survivors,
Exactly. Okay.
Yeah, so Palmer will come back, and Palmer will be put in a position where eventually Bloodshot will be placed in charge of the Hardcore. And what's fascinating about this is anybody who's been following the Bloodshot book knows that this doesn't make a lot of sense. Hardcore is in the employee of Rising Spirit Securities, also known as Project Rising Spirit, and Bloodshot spent the last year basically trying to break free of them, trying to capture some sense of free will. He thought early on that once his programming was broken, he had free will. He's just learned that over the course of the Harbinger Wars that in fact he's been a tool of the other side ever since he thought he had free will. So we're coming out of Harbinger Wars with Bloodshot really for the first time trying to understand who he is and what he is and how he's been manipulated for the last year and beyond. And so how on earth does this lead to him to going back to work for Project Rising Spirit? That's a big part of our first story arc.
Yeah, and the whole free will, making choices question is a really big thing in it. Like, for example, they don't knock you over the head, you wake up and you're in Hardcore. You have to be a willing participant because the process is so, invasive that it'll probably kill you if you're fighting it. So basically, because these people's bodies are not designed to house these powers, there's going to be negative consequences. So the question is, will you just explode one day? Will your body break down? Will you be like a football player, and when you're 50, you're walking like a 90-year-old? What exactly will happen? And what would motivate people to accept this procedure, knowing that these consequences will result? Is it patriotism? Is it desperation? Is it, the adrenaline rush? So we're really getting into a lot of really interesting character stuff. Both with Bloodshot and Palmer and with the new characters we're introducing. So we're very excited about that.
And then shit will blow up.
Yeah. I'm always fighting for more stuff to blow up. Warren's like, not so many explosions, and I'm like, no. I'm just kidding.
I want the book to explode in their hands.
That's the next QR thing.
It just blows.
Yeah. Then you gotta buy another one. Boom!
That might be. Bloodshot and Charlie Palmer, how do they work together? How's that relationship?
Well, I mean, this is part of the joy of reading the book. We don't want to give too much away. There's a situation in the very beginning that we don't want to talk about because it directly is a response to what occurs in Harbinger Wars, which really does change our universe in Bloodshot more so than any other book. So how they relate to each other is going to be really, really fascinating. Bloodshot is a programmed soldier, and he has that in his very, literally in his DNA, because the way his DNA is interstitched with these nanites. Palmer's just a person who has had his biochemistry in his brain re-amalgamated over and over and over and over and over again. So, I think Palmer's going to want to defer command to Bloodshot. I think that sounds satisfying to him to a certain degree. How they get along over the long haul is going to be really interesting.
You know how like every time you get on iTunes, it's like, there's a new version of iTunes. Please download it. Imagine that's your brain.
And you have to sign that. What does he have to click on?
You have to click on the thing. It's 300 pages.
Do you want to restart? I'm driving a car. Do I want to restart? All right. This is the Raphael Grandpa.
Look at that cover.
That's.
Grandpa's amazing.
We're actually going to get to.
It took him 3 years to draw that.
And the detail's phenomenal. If you guys can get up close, the detail is phenomenal.
Actually, it took him 20 minutes. It's amazing. It just went. If you, we're going to get to merchandise a little later, but there's a T-shirt actually available with this image. It's just it's so cool. All right, moving on to the next part of the Summer of Valiant. I heard the inhale there for Eternal Warrior with Greg Pak and Trevor Hairsine. This cover by Clayton Crane is amazing. We've been showing this off everywhere we can. Can you talk a little bit about?
Yeah, sure. So this cover is phenomenal, and it's indicative of the kind of book that we're building with Eternal Warrior. Eternal Warrior is something that we've been talking about for 2 years now internally. We've been building this book. It's a very, very important piece of the universe. It's a very, very important character. I know a lot of you guys have been excited about this. Greg Pak came in and he created a phenomenal story. The Eternal Warrior mythology is a big, big mythology. You've got the Eternal Warrior, the immortal enemy, geomancers, his brothers, all the history that he's been through. What we're doing with the first arc, we're telling very, very small. We're looking at a window through that into his mythology. So it's going to be a very small character-centric story about him and his children and the betrayal and the choice he has to make as a father. Thousands of years later, does he take back his child who's wronged him, and the consequences, of course, life and death. And you'll get to see the Eternal Warrior go through an interesting arc of being someone that wants to save the world and rejecting that, and then ultimately having a very personal reason to embrace it again. And he's going to kill a lot of people with really big axes.
Wow.
So he's not going to be a pacifist.
He's not a pacifist.
That was my pitch, and they turned it down. Eternal Warrior, the pacifist.
We've got a great cover.
Oh yeah.
That's
Also,
his big
Trevor
axe.
Hairsine is going to be doing interiors.
Yes, Trevor has doing interiors. This on your left is a Libremejo design. We went through a number of designs, versions of this design with Libremejo. The only thing that really changed was the size of the axe. It got progressively bigger. This is Nigel. We really kept getting this axe bigger. Very happy with the axe. We ran out of space, so it couldn't get any bigger. Patrick Zurcher did a nice homage to the Eternal Warrior cover from back in the day. Trevor Hairsine, we should have some art in here.
Which is also an homage to Akira Kurosawa's Kagemusha, which is the original cover was. That's the ending scene. Just in case you want to get out of
Nerd.
little comic book world.
So Trevor Hairsine is doing the interiors of the book. He did X-O Manowar 9 and 10, The Prelude to Planet Death. This man was born to draw this book. He is doing a phenomenal job with the past sequences. He's doing a phenomenal job with the brutality of the action that we're seeing. We're going to have some pages for you that'll go online pretty soon, so keep an eye out for that.
How much bigger could the axe get if he's drawing it?
Well, there was no space. If you look at Thomas,
Not bigger?
None bigger. None bigger.
Moving on, that's Armstrong number 0, which is actually out. We don't have the show because we weren't able to get it here fast enough, but we did bring along Mr. Clayton Henry, who did an amazing job on this book by Fred Van Lente. And can you tell us a little bit about the book?
It is better to ask Fred this question, or maybe even Dinesh, because I did this book so long ago that I that much ago. We get back into a little bit more of an origin, or a little bit more about Armstrong's origin and his interaction with his brothers, which has a lot to do with the Epic of Gilgamesh. We start out with Archer wanting to learn a little bit more, and he's actually reading a copy of the Epic of Gilgamesh, and that's when Armstrong says, "What are you doing? You've got a good source right here." And he actually takes the book from him and like throws it, onto the streets of Las Vegas from a skyscraper. And so that's basically what we're dealing with, a lot of historical elements and things of that nature. But if you want to get into the
real story.
Yeah, the real story. Ask Dinesh because he knows more than I do.
Great.
I drew it, but
You want to go, Josh?
Well, I do have a question to ask. Well, we were in New York together, and you and Fred were close. Your tables were close to each other, and Fred and I started talking about the new revelation that dinosaurs probably had feathers. That just recently came in the news.
Yeah.
And you guys were just about to draw a comic featuring a bunch of dinosaurs, right? Together?
Yeah,
And you said I refused to put feathers. on dinosaurs.
I did.
Where did you fall?
No, listen, I'm not somebody that believes that dinosaurs didn't have feathers, but since I didn't hear that these particular dinosaurs had feathers yet, then that's when I fought Fred on. But then as soon as I got back home, I did some research and I'm like, yeah, okay. Well, no, actually, it's a funny story. I was reading some books to my kids before they were going to bed. And my daughter has this book of animals, and you could open up the book, and there's actually textured pictures of the animals, and one of them was a little duck, and it was an up-close shot of this little duckling. And I looked at it, I'm like, wait a minute, there's little sharp teeth, almost like what you'd see on a lizard.
They're total.
Almost like, yeah. I'm like, oh my goodness. And then I was like, okay, fine, Fred wins, I get feathers. It made all the sense in the world. It made all the sense. I looked at this little book, I'm like, and then I emailed Fred the next day, all right, fine, you win.
Ducks are horrible creatures, by the way. We have some canals near where I live, and there's a big duck population there, and I've seen little ducks fight to death against each other. Horrible. It's a quack or be quacked world out there.
Oh my God, really?
It's not the first time I've said that joke. But all the other, before that, it was all true. Ducks are little dinosaurs. Don't ever forget that. We have terrifying little dinosaurs. And that's our turn Armstrong.
That's what it's out already. It's gotten phenomenal reviews. It's one of our zero issues. All of our zero issues are built to be new reader friendly. So if you have friends that are interested in reading Valiant books, point them to zero issues. If there's an issue if there's a title that you're not reading, and we do a zero issue, that's a great place to start.
If you know somebody who has to do a book report on Gilgamesh,
This is not the place.
This would be perfect. No, this would be
This is
great.
great, yeah.
Totally do a report on this.
I
Yeah.
guarantee you that t-shirt be best.
No. Send her to me.
Well,
She'll
they
be
walk
fine.
in and they saw the feature that dinosaurs have feathers.
There you go. See? Hello.
Those kids are already, halfway through their semester.
So the new arc of Archer Armstrong starts at issue 10. The duo go to Area 51, and they find all sorts of things there, including a little gray man. But we won't give away what that is. It's not what you think. It's something a little bit different.
They're members of the Brady Bunch.
And this is art from Ray Perez on Archer Armstrong 10. This is General Redacted that you're seeing on the page now. General Redacted is where the name Redacted, is where the term Redacted came from. He's a general from the 50s. He's a fictional character that Fred's created. He speaks in redacted tongue. So when you see when you see the lettering, you'll see that the specific words, and Fred went to great lengths to pick the words, are redacted, black bars, and they you have to be careful what you read and what you read into what he's saying.
It's brilliant.
It's brilliant.
You're right. You're writing along with it.
Shadowman Zero, another one of our
Zero.
zeros. This book has been phenomenally reviewed. This is probably the best reviewed book that we've had yet. Some of the reviews are here. You can see 5 out of 5, 9.5 out of 10, simply flawless. This is Justin Jordan wrote this. Miko Soyan, Roberto Della Torre. Who were the other two? Luis La Rosa and Neil Edwards drew the book. There were four artists on the book. There are 4 separate sections, all colored by the immaculate Dave Barron. Do you want to tell us a little bit about the book and the coloring style?
This is probably one of the best books I've ever worked on in terms of having multiple artists on it. You don't even notice that there's 4 artists on this book. It's flawless. the editorial staff, to their credit, did a great job picking and choosing on what pages it goes. It starts off from birth to where you know of Master Dark. It's his father, it's his sister. You find so much about their history in the beginning and how he became to be so evil. And the emotional cues in the art are amazing, not just with the story, but you could read this book with just looking at the pictures, and someone else could read the book, reading the words, and you both have the same feeling and same experience looking at this book.
You're nodding your head. Have you read it?
Yeah.
Just a few times.
Just a few times.
What do you think? What do you think?
It was absolutely, I love the fact that versus the first gen of Valiant, it really didn't cover some of these elements down this way. You guys have gone to great lengths, that depth that was never there. And
Nice job,
literally
Dave.
just impressed from start to finish with this book.
The whole crew did an amazing job. Jody LaHoop was the editor on the book. Dave Barron colored it. The creative team was amazing. It's a great book. We're very proud of it.
I would, however, like to make one complaint. These babies, no wait, where were they? Let me go back. Yes, these babies bruised my soul. I'm telling you.
I love them.
Hey, moving on. Oh, there's some more Shadowman covers for the upcoming Shadowman run.
So Zero came in the middle of a run, and we did that because we wanted to accentuate the characterization and the emotional resonance of what's happening in the book. So 8 and 9, you're going to have hopefully a deeper understanding of what's happening from Dark's point of view and why he's doing it. 10 is the end of the arc. It's also the big finale at the end of the Shadowman, the first year. It's going to be a balls out book. If you like 0, you're going to love 10. There are threads that certainly pull through.
Moving into Harbinger Wars. Who here is reading Harbinger Wars? Y'all with me on this one? Excellent. Fantastic. Harbinger Wars number 3 with Hardcore is coming out soon. You guys want to talk a bit? We have the creative team here. The team's here.
Once again, I'm deferring to the writer because once I'm done drawing something, I purge the system.
It is not pretty when he purges.
I move on to the next book. So
It's like a machine, like the Terminator. That's all he does is draw. Yeah, okay, so Harbinger Wars. Yeah, man, it's going on. It's happening. You guys are reading it?
All right, moving on.
We've got 3 in the can, and 3 is amazing as usual. When I finished the script, I thought it was the worst thing I ever wrote, and then when we finished all the art, I thought it was the best thing I ever wrote. And that's pretty much my process. But it's going to be amazing. So we're finally going to have Hardcore. It's going to drop. You're going to see exactly what these 4 guys are like. I cannot promise you how many of these 4 gentlemen will survive this event or how many of them you really want to survive the event. I think we've done something really interesting. I hope people like it. We've created a crossover where there is almost no villainy. All the people who are opposing each other, some of them have selfish desires, some of them don't. I think one of the really shocking things is the most noble person in our crossover turned out to be Bloodshot, the most violent. But very few of them are doing this in the interest of villainy. The closest thing to a villain we really have is Kozel, who is in a room giving an interview for the entire 4 issues, the most exciting part of the comic book. People sitting.
Can I say something? Can I say something about that interview that's going on? That room, that soundproof room, especially those pages right there, I got sick and tired of drawing that room really fast. I mean,
our favorite room.
When you wrote in the script, oh, it's a soundproof wall. Does he know how hard that is to draw? Why can't we just have flat walls?
I totally knew.
So finally, when I was doing issue 3, maybe even the end of issue 2, I decided, no, I'm going to defeat Joshua Dysart.
We'll bring him down.
So you actually forced me to use Google SketchUp.
Yes.
And make a wall. I said, no, I'm making this wall so I never have to draw it again. So I drew one of those little pyramids and then just multiplied them like a few hundred times. So, and after I did, I was like, F you, Josh.
Now that I know that, I realize I can do a whole issue in this room now. Because he has it all rigged.
I don't have to draw it ever again.
What I love is was like in the beginning you were doing all these brilliant tricks like shadow casting, so you only had to draw like half the wall, and now as you can see it's just everywhere around them. They're like in a circular room. So yeah, so I think what we did was interesting. I think we created this like overstuffed, kind of maximalist in the sense of like, a lot of people when they read 2, they were like, there's no way they're gonna pull these elements together by the end of 4. No comment. And so we created this kind of like maximalist summer big blockbuster event in which there's very little villainy and where a lot of the characters who fight each other are people that you can sort of empathize on both sides of that conflict. And I'm pretty proud of that. I think villainy is ostensibly boring, quite frankly. I think it's cool. I think we succeeded at that, and I think we are succeeding at making like kind of a big spectacle thing that actually comes from a really small emotional place, and that's Harbinger Wars.
And hardcore's in it.
And hardcore's in it. And hardcore's coming. There they come. Here they come.
We've talked about this. Could you read the first panel for us? Could you do a reading, a line reading?
Jesus Christ! Come on. I'm gonna stand so that my diaphragm is clear. No, I can't read.
I can read it.
I'll read it. This is ridiculous.
No, this is fantastic.
No, it's ridiculous.
I want you guys to know I'm not reading anything. So.
This is not going to have the impact on you. This is just absolutely ridiculous.
Do different voices.
My butt's all clenched.
Should we have Adam do a line reading?
Yeah, let's have Adam do it.
That's fine, all right.
Each one of the panelists take a character. Let's do the whole thing.
What?
After this build-up, this better be the best dialogue I've ever heard. This better put Alan Moore to shame.
One line, okay, everyone get ready.
I didn't even write half this panel, personally.
Because I don't want to blow out the mic.
What are you gonna do?
Once more to the reach!
You didn't even know what he said, did you?
All right. That's enough embarrassing everyone here. All right, Harbinger Wars 4. Look at that cover. Look at that.
Yeah, that cover's awesome.
Stephen Berger. That's the Stephen Berger cover. Beautiful cover.
Is that going to be in 4?
Yep, that's on 4. Patrick
I guess I should write a Bleeding Monk scene for that issue.
What are you talking about? It's in the can.
Oh yeah, of course it is.
This brings us to Harbinger 15, where we once again have Mr. Dysart and his art crush, Mr.
Barry Kitson.
The Kid Kitson.
My other art crush. I'm a polygamist.
Can you talk anything? Can you say anything about what's happening in 15 post?
Absolutely. So anybody who's reading Harbinger knows that these kids have had a rough time. They all kind of. I'm not going to say anything. I promise I won't spoil anything for you. I will say that they, at the end of Renegades, they encountered a conflict the likes of which none of them had ever had to deal with before. I mean, one of them has been a stripper for the last 6 years. The other one's a pill addict. Nobody's ever jumped out of a helicopter before, that's for certain, without any parachute. So they've had a rough road of it, and they've gotten to go to a bar all together once. And these are kids, they're like 17, 18 years old. They've gotten to go to one bar, and Torque sort of screwed that up for them. And then they jumped right into Harbinger Wars, and things started to get really crazy. So 15 is the perfect day. What happens when they finally they're in Vegas, they decide to hop over to Los Angeles to see the sights, and what happens when they all just get to have a perfect day? Well, that sounds like a boring comic book, right? So that probably won't go as well as expected, but that's 15, and 15 will start our arc, Perfect Day, which will be a 4-issue arc with a middle break that I don't want to talk about now, but it's going to be super awesome, with Barry Kitson doing the 4 issues, and it's going to be, and I don't want to say too much about it. A huge part of its plot is the excitement is in revealing it, but
he has no idea what he's going to do.
No, there's a very, very, very cool big secret.
There's a very cool big secret.
And what's interesting is Josh has been making the book more and more and more his own, and this arc is again furthering that. This is really Josh Dysart.
This is coming completely from my id. I'm literally writing it with my ass. I'm sorry, there's kids here. I'm sorry.
He grows feathers. There's a whole feather sequence.
I really just don't want to see any more of Josh's id. I think
You guys want my id, don't you? Sure you do.
So we've got Barry Kitson cover here. This is Trevor Hairsign on your left. and Kari Evans showcasing Perfect Day.
By the way, I just want to say, if anybody's been reading Harbinger right now, the crossover with Harbinger Wars, the Trevor Hersign, I mean, Kari Evans is doing an amazing job as always. The Trevor Hersign pages from 1969 are absolutely awesome, awesome, awesome. And I love that we're building out this like Harada's, late 60s experience. And 13 is going to be killer. Like both the present day, and finally I'm managing to pull the present day and the 1969 flashbacks together, and it's just a killer issue, all out action and character. It's going to be awesome.
Ah yes, speaking of Harbinger Wars, how many of you have downloaded the Harbinger Wars game?
I would raise my hand, but I can't.
Raise the baby.
So yes, right now on your phone, whether you have Android or iOS, you can go to your app store and download the very first 8-bit video game that's ever been created to promote a comic book series. We're incredibly proud of this. In fact, we put together, there's a...
Or your iPad. You can download it on any Apple device.
Yeah, give it a try. That's it, I did. Where's the sound? Oh, wait, hang on. Let me restart.
Shouldn't his face be ripped apart?
This game is 100% free. You can download it on any Android system, any Apple system. It's a hell of a lot of fun. We've had a blast playing it in the office. We think you guys are really going to enjoy it.
The graphics are outstanding.
Yes.
Yes.
It took one game designer almost a full week to make this game.
I think he stayed after work once. It was huge. They had to order in pizza. This also goes into our obsession with 8-bit. In June, we're going to have 8-bit covers on each of our titles. It's the Shadowman number 7, Archer and Armstrong number 10, one of my favorites. Bloodshot number 12.
Yay!
Harbinger 13.
I just want to say I get Double Dragon, which is the most misogynistic opening of a video game ever. Does anybody here remember how Double Dragon opens? Where he like punches the hell out of this poor woman in a miniskirt, and he throws her over her shoulder, and the skirt rises up, and you see her panties, and he runs off. It's like terrible. I love that that's the cover for my comic. It's hilarious.
So in June, every book in June is going to get an 8-bit cover, with the exception of Harbinger Wars.
I'm sorry, say that again?
With the exception of Harbinger Wars, every cover has an 8-bit cover.
Yeah, I love the. I'm so jazzed about the 8-bit covers. I think they're so cool.
In fact, if you come
You
by...
can tell that everybody in this company is over 40.
Except for Josh Johns, who's at the booth right now. Go by and see him. He's the assistant editor who put all of these together. He worked together with our artist Matthew White to put these together, and he is a bit kind of herded the whole thing. So
It's so
much
cool.
fun to talk
So
about.
cool.
And I'm not over 40.
Are you actually 40? No, all right. We just announced Cinderblock is our new partner doing merchandise. I mentioned earlier the Raphael Grandpa, the Bloodshot, who's actually one of our t-shirts. You can go right now, valiant.cinderblock.com, or go through our website and you can check it out. There's really an amazing...
Yeah, there's the Radiohead's merchandising partner. They do a lot of music bands. They are super excited. They've done mugs for us, hats, t-shirts. They've already sold out of a couple things. I think the pins are sold out.
Yeah, those close-made pins.
They're limited runs, and so we'll keep changing it. We'll do new product all the time.
There's an awesome Harada print that's done in like this kind of Russian Stalin-esque propaganda poster. Yeah, you can see it in a small like JPEG there.
It's Wando.
So beautiful.
The lithographs are really, really top quality. The ones that they did, really top quality.
Oh, here's some more of that product. Which brings us to a 5-letter word that many people are talking about. Unity. It's Coming, you'll notice in your free comic book day books, the very last page has this image right here. There's not a whole lot more we're going to say here today about that. We just want to make sure that you once again were teased. So, I can tell you it is not going to be, if you're a longtime Valiant fan, Unity is not going to be what you expect it to be. I will tell you that.
We've been really, really grateful to all the support that we've had from everybody. We're very happy with everything that's come out in terms of the books and the response that we've had. Unity is part of our plan to take it to the next level. So hopefully you guys will enjoy it. We're going to put our hearts and souls into this. We all had a big writers retreat a couple weeks ago, and it was pretty exciting.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I think one of the ways we've managed to successfully keep the original Valiant fans engaged is by really flipping expectations and bringing you what you loved about the old Valiant, but constantly keeping it fresh and new and updating it. And I think Unity is going to flip your expectation quite a bit. And if you're not an old Valiant fan, Unity is just going to be a blast.
And if nothing else, the novelty of reading an entire comic on a beach ball is.
But if Unity does not work, it is not for lack of trying. We're going to put everything into this book. We'll kill ourselves to make it great. So we're very, very keen to get you guys to see some of it. And with that, we have a password for anyone that's here. If you come by the booth and say the word Unity to anyone at the booth, you will get a free, what is it?
I think we're doing a Harbinger Gold.
Harbinger #1 Gold.
Wow. Yes.
Okay.
So if you're not familiar, if any of you are not familiar with the Gold program, it is something that we have borrowed from the old Valiant, in which if you show up at any of our conventions with any conventions that we're at with a Valiant shirt on, or if you show up in costume, hint, I want to see cosplayers, or if you do something above and beyond to help promote. If you wear a Shadowman shirt, right there, look at that, come on by. Or if you come to the panel, you actually, we're going and use the password. Now, this is very important, this password is secret. So you cannot shout it when you get there, say, so, yes, it is, the Gold program is something that we're very proud of. I want to make sure that you guys, want to thank the guys who really go above and beyond to promote Valiant. And many of you are in this room.
Yeah, and we've got all these guys signing throughout the panel. So the team from Harbinger Wars, Christos Gage from Bloodshot and Hardcore, Dave Barron has done Armstrong Zero, Shadowman Zero is going to do a couple of big projects coming up with us. Clayton Henry has art that he's selling, beautiful art from Armstrong. Harbinger Wars, they're far too cheap. I've already cherry-picked a couple, I'm sorry.
And in that case, come by in an hour. Give me time to jack up the price.
Well, I'm at the Avatar booth, which is right near the Valiant booth.
So Christos at the Avatar booth, he's got a new book that's coming out, you should check it out.
You can get a free comic book day edition, a preview edition of it.
Excellent.
It's called Blood and Breasts, right?
Cool.
Absolution.
It's called Absolution. Now, it is called half-baked hippie philosophies mixed with clever-sounding science that I got off the internet. Boom!
That's a long title. That's like half the title.
Will it blow up?
Or will it blow up? It'll just spurt blood on you. That's it.
And so I think that's it. It's been a great year. We want to thank you guys again. We do have a little bit of time, maybe for a couple questions. Do we have any? Yes, sir.
I originally saw a press release for Ride, possibly being launched in February of this year. Is there anything of that coming out in the next year?
I really like Rye. I really do. I generally like it neat, but sometimes with ice, it's good. And Manhattan, it's always
Manhattan,
delicious.
that's the way.
Yeah, I really do.
That's not the first time you said that, Joe.
I know, I'm working on it. I'm working on your
It was almost the first time that's funny.
Almost. I'm getting there. You gotta laugh. All right.
That's a pity.
All right. Any other questions? Yes, sir.
You introduced the Geomancer in Archer and Armstrong. There used to be Geomancer title in the original Valiant universe. Will you be bringing that out?
We've got big plans. We love Clayton Henry, the new Geomancer, so we've been working hard. Don't want to ruin the surprise.
Awesome shirt, by the way.
Thank you.
Oh yeah. Yes, sir.
Well, besides the launch of Quantum and Woody, are there going to be more VA version 2, like Easter eggs sprinkled throughout the series, all the series?
Yes. We've got 2 new titles launching this year. We want to be very careful to grow slow and steady, to maintain the quality, but also to make sure that you guys don't spend too much money too quickly. So Quantum Moody is one of our launches this year. We've got a lot cooking, a lot of things in the works with these guys, and we'll announce them at the right time.
Yes. Yeah. No, go baby first.
Okay, Valiant Masters, are we gonna keep seeing those coming out? Is that already got the first,
Yeah, we've got Eternal Warrior coming out in June.
Sounds right.
Yeah, Eternal Warrior.
Actually, Shadowman's the next one on the 29th.
Shadowman's the next one, and then Eternal Warrior.
Shadowman, sure.
And then Ride's been solicited for December.
Once we do a Valiant Masters, it purges.
Yes.
We're going to continue doing it.
Awesome.
Okay, so and then along.
Can I ask you a question now? Is that what's going on?
Yeah,
If your life were a fruit, what fruit would it be?
What's that?
If your life were a fruit, what fruit would it be?
Pear.
Love it. That's great. Great answer. It's nice. It's got like a nice curvy shape. And it's,
Starts up from there.
yeah, it's not hard to get into. It's sweet. That's good. That's a good line.
Yeah, it's a good one.
So currently all the current Valiant stuff is being released just in softcover.
Yeah.
Can we expect hardcovers of those down the road?
Yes.
Okay. That's actually straightforward answers. Straight in the back.
I don't really know anything about Valiant, but I just had a question about Turok.
I'm gonna have you come up actually afterward. Hi, and and you and I will talk to Dinesh after the panel. So stick around.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, based on the Valiant Masters, a few years ago, you guys reprinted at Harbinger.
I'd like to know more about Torok, actually, if you wouldn't mind asking.
I'd like to
Josh.
tell you all about Turok. He was a dinosaur killer.
I'm sorry, man. What was your question?
Well, it's also going to have to do with Torque in a way, because a couple years ago, you guys reprinted Harbinger, Archer and Armstrong, and X-O Manowar. And Archer and Armstrong specifically had Unity mixed into it. Are you going to be able to reprint the Unity as in Shadowman, because it takes place like episode 4? Will it have those characters in there still? Will any difference with the licensing there?
No, they're the same structure you saw in the previous hardcovers. You'll continue to see. So you will see Shadowman 4 in there. It'll be the exact book that was printed back in the day.
Okay.
It's a long and kind of boring explanation to why we're able to do that and what we're able to do and what we're not able to do. But that is one of the things that we are able to do.
Okay, that's what I was just wondering, because that could be messing up a little bit of the story, because Unity had to do with one character that no longer has control.
Yep.
Do you have the rights to ROM Space then?
You marketing at that.
I would write that.
We do not have the rights. Do you have the rights to Rom Space Nine?
Do you have the rights from? I'd love to write ROM Space Nine.
I love Ron.
Everybody,
Down.
if anyone nailed down the rights to ROM Space Night, there would be literally like a Hunger Games for who gets to.
That was the most unimpressive Hunger Games ever. It's a bunch of comic creators fighting.
Longest Hunger Games.
Instead of a bloodbath, it'd just be like 20 guys in a field that are just completely worn out. I just can't. I can't. Well, one more. Yeah.
So then along the line of Turok,
Yeah.
will we be able to see any Valiant Masters editions using both key characters?
Not from us.
Okay.
So they wouldn't be Valiant Masters.
Which, right, obviously.
Yeah. There you go. All right. Excellent. Thank you guys so much for coming. And once again, what's the password?
Unity.
Excellent.
2000.
Yeah.
Well, that was awesome. You guys said that like a sedated cult.
We'll see you guys in the booth.